Hello everyone, welcome back to the channel. I'm Ben, this is Books with Genghis Khan, and today I want to discuss my foray into fantasy self-pub, which I really did for the first time this past year. I'd dabbled in it a bit with the Cradle series, but this is the first time I really sought out some new self-pub, got a bit more involved in the self-pub community, which is an awesome place with A.R. Witham's Discord channel, the Keymark Discord channel, and readathons, where they were self-pub themed for Spiffbone 9, and so I got really a sense for what the SFF self-pub community is like this year, and I really love it. It is an awesome, kind of cool place where you can have a lot more interactions with the authors, get closer to them. I've already had some interactions with the authors of books I've been reading this past year, and that's been great. And the self-pub scene offers just such a great variety and even some subgenres that aren't even available really in TradPub through Tor and Orbit and DAW. Things like lit RPG and progression fantasy I've enjoyed and not really a thing in TradPub. So there's just really cool things going on there that, I have been reaching for a lot of TradPub, but I don't love the idea of the gatekeeping of TradPub of only a few houses and limited to things that, known agents are feeding those editors there. And I love the idea that through self-pub, anyone has a chance of getting their work out there. Self-pub authors have the freedoms to not have an editor, publisher breathing down their necks, giving them advice about how to, change their book so it fits the market, or could appeal to more readers. They don't have to play it safe at all. They can just do what they want, and that really appeals to me. I like rooting for the underdog as well, and I want authors that have a small following. I love the idea of trying to get behind them and build up their following and help them achieve a wide readership. So, and on top of that, some self-pub series that I've done have amazing audiobook experiences and narrators that are just spectacular, become some of my favorites, and I love that as well. So I just love hearing lively, fun audio narration, and I think that is very much a big part of the self-pub scene. So I'm going to briefly touch on the 5 self-pub series that I've read so far, and they all happen to be by male authors. And so I want to make a more concerted effort to make sure I am reading self-pub, but also be reading a diverse range of self-pub authors. So please let me know in the comments if you have any female or non-binary self-pub authors or specific books or series that you think I might love. I've a very busy TBR. I'm sitting on hundreds of books, mostly TradPub books that I am excited to get to. But I want to work in some more self-pub, and so be very targeted with your recommendation. I want just one series or one book that you think I might click with, and because also curious what people who've been here for a while and know my taste might recommend to me on that front. And I would love if it also has some audio narration available for it, and because I'm just much more likely to be able to pick it up if that's the case, and if the narration seems to be really great. So let me know in the comments what you'd recommend for me. I do have a couple female self-pub authors on my TBR. I want to get to The Sword of Kaigan by M.L. Wong and Dragon Mage by M.L. Spencer. Both I got Kickstarters for them. The Dragon Mage one hasn't come yet, but I'll be making use of those special editions. But those 2 books are ones that have made some of the biggest splashes in SFF over the last few years, so looking for things that probably are a little bit more under the radar. I already have a lot of male self-pub authors to get to with Zach Argyle's Threadlight Trilogy, Ryan Cahill's Bound of the Broken series, and others like Rob J. Hayes I still haven't read that are really prominent. So I'm covered really on that front, but I'm looking for a couple of female-authored self-pub books that you think could be a big hit with me. And I like a wide range of reads, so even if it's something that's out of the epic fantasy kind of subgenre, if it's but more romance-focused or slice of life, if you think it's really great and I could click with it, then throw that recommendation my way. My forays into self-pub really started with the Cradle series by Will White, and I have a hardcover of Unsold here that they did kind of special editions of. But I did this all through audio, and I love Travis Baldry's fun narration. I don't think this type of story is really just exactly the type that I love. It took me a while to kind of really even get invested in the story. I think 5 books in, I still wasn't really loving it. But then around book 6, I started to care more. The book started to work better. Then like from book 6 through 10, they were really just working great. And I did enjoy the finale Waybound last year. I'm excited to see what Will White's going to do next. I love that he's kind of running this operation from his family home in Florida with his 2 siblings. And he's very communicative and does that fast release schedule. And I am curious to go into his back catalog and some of his previous series, which Baldry I think has done some narration for also, and the newer sci-fi series as well. And I think Baldry is doing that too with the captain and the engineer. So yeah, I'm a big fan of Will White, and it's just a lot of fun. I continued my self-pub journey early last year with The Legend of Blackjack by A.R. Witham. So I'd seen just a lot of buzz around this book on BookTube, and then I joined into his readathon that he was doing, and the book fit some of the prompts, and I was like, okay, I'm part of A.R. Witham's channel readathon. I'll check out his book and see what's going on. And it was really refreshing and interesting. It felt like a nostalgic fantasy trip that is meant for an adult, but that is like taking you back into what it's feeling like to be a kid again, where the world is still magical and you had that kind of innocent sense of curiosity about the world and all the wonders it might hold. And the main character is this younger kid, this very precocious kid, and it's this portal fantasy adventure. You get swept up in this world full of lots of different magical creatures and big talking animals, and it was a fun adventure. And I really look forward to seeing what Witham's going to do next in this world, because I know he's working on a trilogy right now. Oh, and Witham actually did his own narration and did it so well. He was great and very expressive. And I think he had to go kind of on a weekly basis to a local car dealership where he rented out their kind of radio room to do this recording. And so it wasn't the easiest thing I know to pull off, but he did it just wonderfully. And I don't even know what kind of professional help or production he had along with it, but I thought it was great. And sound quality was great too. So just kudos to that audiobook, and just a really great reader, and felt like sometimes, the author is not always the greatest performer for their work, but Witham just nailed it. Another self-pub series I've dived into is the Sundered Nation Trilogy by Vaughn Roycroft. Here's book 1, The Severing Sun, and I recently also read book 2, Bold Ascension, with the finale, I think, on the way sometime this year. So this one is interesting since it's kind of historical fantasy, but very, very, very low fantasy. So there's prophecies, but there's not much in terms of supernatural things going on or magic. It feels like an even lower fantasy kind of situation as maybe John Gwynn's Faithful and the Fallen. And it's kind of a secondary world, but really heavily inspired by the fall of the Roman Empire to the Germanic Goth tribes. And so we're following a couple characters kind of who come from these Goth-like tribes, and they're really shaking up this world that feels like it's Europe and the Mediterranean, but can translate it into its own version, the secondary world. And I really got swept up in the tale here. It's a very fast-paced, lots of gritty action, very heartfelt character work that I connected to in here. And so this was just another huge hit for me. The next one I tried was the Protectors of Pretanni series by Mike Mullmans. Here's book 1, Becoming a Druid, this beautiful naked hardback with this lovely cover painting. And I read the first 3 books that are out, so 2 novels and 1 kind of collection of a couple novellas and short stories. So there's a planned 7 books with the next book of novellas on the way soon. So we're going to get 2 more novels, maybe another book of novellas. And this is also a really interesting kind of genre mashup. So this is set in a fantastical version of Britain. And there are magical creatures that live there, and the druids do real magic, and really cool magic in lots of different kinds that I found to be really interesting and new, types of magic that I really haven't seen before, and interesting combat and battle scenes that utilize that magic. So I really loved the kind of fantastical elements, but taking inspiration from some real world aspects, which I haven't seen too often. And this also had a really great audio narration by James Meunier, who has this very interesting kind of a British accent that I don't hear too often, and was specifically chosen by Mullman because of the dialect, the regional dialect, and where this book was mainly set, kind of in southwest Britain. And Meunier is just an awesome narrator. I loved spending time with that audiobook. And this main character, Grommy, is the POV character, is really contemplative and interesting and headstrong, and loves animals and can do animal kind of transformation magic and turn himself into animals that he understands really well. So yeah, I really connected with this one. Can't wait to see where this goes next. And most recently, I just binged all 6 Dungeon Crawler Carl books that are out by Matt Dinniman. I did it all by audio by the spectacular Jeff Hayes, and this is just one of the most immersive, fun audio experiences I've had. The books, though, are extremely dramatic and gritty and emotionally high stakes just throughout. But Dinniman is really funny to me. Just the sense of humor in the books just hits for me. Both the kind of clever jokes and the really dumb jokes as well. But they just punctuate kind of really dramatic tension that's happening. So it's just this really high stakes kind of setup, but keeping it light along the way with some jokes. And I really like that mix. It reminds me of the Dresden Files, but I think this is consistently funnier than the Dresden Files. Just a wonderful series, my first foray into lit RPG, and I know this is a whole kind of subgenre of fantasy that the trad pub houses don't really do at all. I think it's kind of historically been releasing kind of web serials in this genre and really quick release schedules. And so, this is a whole side of fantasy that you can only get really in the self-pub scene. And so I'll be interested to try some more. But man, Dinniman is known as one of the best ones in lit RPG, and he wasn't new to writing when he started the series. So he wasn't a young debut author with this. He's had a lot of books and series before that he's written. So I want to see what else he's done. But this one probably has set a really high bar for me for lit RPG. So we'll see if I click with any of the others. But those are all the self-pub series I have tried so far. They've been hits with me. I've had a great time, and I want to make sure I continue to show self-pub authors the love. So let me know if there are any other self-pub authors and series I haven't mentioned yet that you want to recommend to me, but especially if there are any female-authored self-pub series or individual standalone books that you think could really hit with me that have engaging audio narration especially. I want to know about them. So let me know in the comments about that, and I'll catch you later.